Joe, did you see this week that Miami, somebody graffitied on a wall, drained the swamp? You know, that's the Trump saying, but they put drain the swamp because they're going anyway. But Florida takes on Miami. Miami goes over to the swamp and puts an outright beat down on the Gators. Your thoughts going in? Now, let me preface this by saying, Joe, we got actually, and ironically, both of us during the offseason came in here and picked Miami to win the ACC. We also said that we thought Cam Ward was going to be our Heisman Trophy winner. We got a lot of pushback by people about, oh, Miami's just the same old Miami. We're not gonna come in here and take a victory lap because there's a long season.
Yeah.
Okay. However, I'm gonna be a little real with you. The way that we talked about Miami this offseason and what they did on Saturday is pretty much exactly what we thought, how talented they were, and Cristobal getting out of the way, and they dominated from start to finish, in my humble opinion.
So first of all, for anyone who wants to downplay this win for Miami, that's a really freaking hard place to win, and to win that dominantly. We need to give Miami credit for showing up with the intensity and the intent the way that they did. In week one, a week that for other teams is usually riddled with mistakes. They weren't perfect. The interception that Cam Ward had, it could have been a backbreaker for them, but he is the type of guy that and this is why I love him so much as a quarterback, he has a short memory. He's got the greatest demeanor that you look for in a quarterback, where he just moves on to the next play. It's like, all right, try to do a little bit too much on that play. I would rather have a quarterback like Cam Ward that tries to do too much than one that doesn't try anything at all, which is Cade Klubnik, guy that is overly conservative. I am just so happy that we are unbelievably vindicated for our takes on Miami, because what was proven correctly is that Cam Ward is so dynamic as a quarterback that he can completely open up a game. He can make throws and plays that nobody else in the ACC can make, that is enough for Miami to completely dominate some of their opponents. Even if the margin of separation of talent is close, they can open up a big lead at any point. And then secondly, that defense is freaking nasty. Tyler Barron cooked. They dominated up front, and that was where the success came from and why they were able to win so big. If you couple an offense that can put together huge splash plays and a defense that suffocates you at the line of scrimmage, there's going to be some big blowouts this year from Miami. I think that there's maybe not perfection with this Miami team, but I was really blown away with how good they looked. That is a phenomenal program.
So you hit the nail on the head on one thing. They gave up one big play in the run game, which sparked it, because Montrell Johnson hit the long run. He had 11 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown. They got out-schemed on that one. Credit to Billy. You know, they got back in the football game. It was a one-score game. And, Joe, when the game was 17-10, okay, and Florida had just scored, I think this is where Cam Ward showed that I know it's week one, a Heisman contender. They go right down the field, and they're dominating on every single level. You talked about the D-line and how they were physical on that side. Let me go to the offensive side. Joe, I know that it was tough for times for Miami to get things going in the running game. I get that. Martinez, 15 carries, 65 yards, really tough carries. It didn't matter. And I think that they're going to get better there, because that Florida front seven with Pup Howard and that defensive line with Cam Jackson and all those guys, Florida's got a really solid front seven, and that's going to be missed. The problem is for Florida, okay, their secondary is still very bad, and it's very, very bad. Xavier Restrepo went absolutely bananas and made some unreal catches. The problem with it is that even though he made some unreal catches, he was wide open, okay, and they got schemed up. And I think Ron Roberts, who, you know, was the head coach at Southeastern for a long time, produced guys like Pete Golding, right? Like Pete Golding's a DC at Ole Miss. I really just believe, though, that they not only got pieced apart, they got out-coached, they got out-physicaled, they got out-schemed. And then here's the part that I want to make it very well known. That offense is high-flying. Jacoby George didn't get a lot of action in this game because he didn't need to. If you notice, they bracketed to him. And that was something that I think you and I had talked about him, like, hey, man, which one of those two guys, Restrepo, the tight ends, or Jacoby George or Sam Brown, that you're going to take away? Look, I don't like comparing teams to this guy behind me, right? I don't, and I'm not going to do that because I think you can't do that after week 1. They did show glimpses, though. They showed glimpses of how dynamic and explosive that they can be. And Florida is not a team that is just willy-nilly. They suck. They're an average SEC team. Front 7, they were really good. But here's the thing, Joe. Everybody has been coming down pretty hard on Mario Cristobal. The outcoached part of this is going to get overmissed. Florida was 1 for 9 on third down. You want to know why they were 1 for 9 on third down? Because they got out schemed and their front 7 absolutely obliterated Florida. So what do dominant teams do? They went up front and they got better playmakers than you. Let me get to Cam Ward before I kick it back over to you, and we can talk about Napier. So Cam Ward went 26 of 35 for 385 and 3 touchdowns. Joe, it wasn't the passing and him throwing the ball all over the place that I love so much. We knew that that's kind of the player that he's going to be. It's how he gets away from pressure. It's how he knows where he needs to go with the football. The swag that he has when he runs with the football. Remember when he ran right and he kind of just jogged and then stopped in the field of play and they kind of pushed him out. The dude's just got swag, man, and he plays so freaking good. Now, during the season, as you mentioned, we're going to have to see how he limits turnovers. But, Joe, this Miami team is going to be one that we're going to have to watch throughout the whole season. They're going to be really good.
This video is sponsored by the online fitness training camp presented by Chris Gates Fitness. When I first started talking about Chris, about partnering with our show, not only was I excited to have a fitness sponsor for our pod, but more importantly, when I found out about how he can help people achieve their goals, I was even more bought in, because when the football season starts, it is so tough to stay on top of things and also to be able to enjoy yourself on Saturdays when it's game day. With Chris Gates Fitness's online training camp, you're going to be able to effectively stay focused, consistent, burn fat, build muscle, and do it with a like-minded community of individuals working towards the same thing. On top of this, you're going to be able to get direct coaching from Chris and the ability to ask him questions with an access to a live Q&A where you can get direct personalized support from Chris himself. Don't wait any longer. If you're trying to get in shape during this fall and you want to be able to do it with the right support system, head on over to chrisgatesfitness.com/trainingcamp or click the link in the description. And you need to do it today because you can get the first month. Personal training is expensive, folks. The first month for only $10 when you use that code RuffinoJoe. Don't wait any longer. Head on over there. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.